Hello and welcome back again to Hannah's Inner Healing channel, the channel dedicated to your inner healing and mental health. So today we are going to tackle a topic that is a growing trend among young people today, and it's really destructive, and many people don't know, because it looks like something pleasurable, but in the end it has serious implications to your especially mental health and also social well-being. So again, my name is Hannah Jerry. Today I want to talk about things that affect, and the topics that I do are normally topics that are affecting the society, topics that people don't talk about, but yet they are eating down to society. And as a psychologist and a counselor, I know for sure that these problems affect many people who, especially the young people who are knowingly just going to the internet and they start looking at materials, and later on these materials affect them. So to start off first, let me start with statistics. And by the way, let me just use a disclaimer. The information I'm giving in this forum today is not from personal experience, but mostly just from scientific research that has been put out there, and some of the research that I've gathered, as I have been doing my own personal research. So let me just start with the statistics. It's estimated the pornography industry in itself has been estimated to be 97 billion US dollars globally. So it means it's an industry that is making a lot of money from people, from as you watch the pornographic movies, they make a lot of money of you. And it's also estimated only in America alone, 20 million people have been addicted to pornography. And there's also an estimate that 20% of of men in the world watch porn at work. So those are the staggering statistics of pornography. It may not be like, seem like a big issue, but the statistics are showing that it's a prevalent issue and it's already out there. So, and then, one in five people in the world have been known to have come across pornography materials. And then 8 to 11 years old right now are getting to watch pornography, are being addicted to pornography. Can you imagine 8 to 11 years old? And so that's why this problem is a big issue right now. Um, what causes people to go into pornography? What causes people to watch pornography? First of all, what is pornography? Pornography comes from a Greek word, porneia, which means the use of graphic sexual materials to cause sexual arousal. Either it could be videos, it could be printed materials, it could be pictures or images that are used for that purpose. So what causes people to go into pornography? The number one cause why people go into pornography is inner wounds. Let me explain how. You see, when, let's say, you have experienced childhood trauma or you have experienced abuse at a young age, what normally happens if the wound is not healed, now later on in life, you will find a way to close up that wound, to cater for that wound. And one of the ways that now, as a human being, you want to cater for that wound is by now looking at other things outside of you that will give you pleasure, or that will cause your mind, or that your mind to shift, or your being to shift from that wound. So now you get something exterior to focus on that can help you maybe ease or numb the pain. And sometimes people unknowingly carry wounds without knowing. Maybe if you're abused and you never healed on a wound, you're carrying wounds that you don't know. I want to use an analogy of the rose, a rose analogy. You see, when you look at this rose, it's really beautiful, right? And it's healthy. The petals, all of them are healthy and good. And when you the opposite of this rose is this one, where it's dead, it's rotten. So what's happening here? So when you have inner wounds as a person and that you have not healed, what happens is those wounds keep affecting you, keep attacking you in a way that you start dying from the inside. So when people maybe look at you from outside, they see this, but in essence, this is who you are on the inside. So the thing that I encourage people with this, and in this channel, is heal the inner wounds. Begin to talk about the inner wounds. Go for counseling, go for coaching, and let someone start helping you to cope with these wounds. Talk about them, open them up. You know how a normal wound, when you have a wound, a physical wound, you need to first of all apply antiseptic on that wound. so that now the wound can keep, and then you bandage it, and then you keep removing the bandage, washing the wound, applying antiseptic like that. The same with inner wounds. You need to keep talking about them, feel the pain, because you will relieve the pain when you go back to those wounds. But as you're relieving the pain, you are also healing. The wound is being washed, and then now you realize your life starts looking like this on the inside. Right now in the society and in the media, you see many people are focusing on building the outer man. And it's not bad. It's good to take care of yourself, exercise, eat the right foods and everything. But you find that you can take care of the outer man, but if the inner man is dead, like this flower, then what means is you are dying from within, but you just look like this. So one day people will start seeing you just, you can even develop mental illnesses because of inner wounds. You can develop addictions because of inner wounds. And most people who are into addictions have inner wounds that they don't know they have or are carrying, inner pain. So when you work and you start healing inner wounds, also add virtues to yourself, character, virtues, things that make you beautiful from the inside out. Because it's okay, yes, to have outer beauty, but inner beauty is more important than even outer beauty. When you have inner beauty, it reflects from inside out. So you start glowing from inside out because you have the inner beauty coming out, and now you start shining like this rose flower. So heal the inner wounds. So inner wounds is one of the reasons that people go into pornography even when they don't know, inner pain. Another thing that causes people to go into pornography is trauma, closely connected to the child, to the abuse. When you have trauma, you're carrying trauma, maybe you went through an event that traumatized you and you didn't heal from it. So your body subconsciously will look for an outlet, and the outlet could be pornography or drugs or into any other addiction. And then also shame, the toxic shame. If you grew up being told you're not good enough, if you grew up being told that you are good for nothing, you will develop toxic shame, and that shame will cause you now to look for outer things that will cause you to feel good. And that's why now you end up into things like pornography. Also confusion, when you're confused, also it can cause you to go into pornography. Curiosity, some people want to go and see what's going on there, then you get caught up. And then also is stress. When you're not able to cope with stress, maybe at work, or stress of relationships, or stress of family, things like that, you can easily go into pornography. So I wanted to talk about the social implications that come in when you are watching pornography. What happens to you socially before we go to what happens to the brain when you watch pornography? So number one is you self-loathe or self-hate. When I started this channel, I learned I don't go judging people based on what they do, because there are inner things. I've learned that there are things that make a person behave the way they behave. It could be their how they were socialized growing up, and also their nature, who they are. Maybe were they abused, things like that. So in this channel, I encourage people, don't go judging people. Don't go using your religion to judge people, because you don't know their background. You don't know the things that they have gone through. Only God knows. The only thing is, when you see someone caught up in something, have mercy on that person. Try and help them if you can. But don't go judging them or gossiping them or talking bad about them out there, because it's not fair, it's not just. So if you see someone caught up in something, there's always a root cause to that thing. And if you're here and you're watching this topic and you're caught up in pornography, you don't need to feel bad about yourself. You don't need to feel condemnation or guilt. You don't need to feel like you are a bad person. You are not. The only thing that you need to know is that you can always come out of this thing, that you're a human being, you're not trash. Because you self-loathe, you self-hate yourself. You don't need to hate yourself. You're just human, and you're just caught up in something that you can also come out of. So heal, and also just try and help yourself. So number one is another thing also that you find is you become aggressive. You start being aggressive because of the anger. You're in something that you can't come out. So it causes you to be angry. You also have distorted perceptions about people. For example, if you see women, you see them as sex objects, or if you see men, you see them as sex objects. So, and I'm not talking about like, there's that normal attraction that you can feel for someone if you're a man or a woman. I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about now the sexualizing of people. When you see people you start seeing them as objects of sexual pleasure. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what happens to you. So you're talking to someone, and then sexual images start coming into your in front of you, because of your mind is caught up into pornography. And then you have social anxiety, because you're always hiding this lifestyle. You don't want people to know about this lifestyle, so it gives you anxiety. You also have, in aggravated cases where it's too much, you start having suicidal thoughts. In fact, I was watching a podcast of a lady who used to be a porn star, acting porn, and she was saying that one thing that goes with that lifestyle, even her as an actor acting those movies, is you get suicidal thoughts. You start taking drugs, because your mind can only take in a certain amount of perversion. So when it's too much, then you start having suicide thoughts. You want to kill yourself. And then also there's that, you feel tired all the time, because your brain is so flooded with dopamine. And I'm going to talk about that when I'm talking about how the pornography affects your mind. Your mind is being affected because of the dopamine levels that are being released into your mind. So you get tired at the end of the day. And then also you have erectile dysfunction. You're not able to function well, sexually, because your psyche is so geared towards towards pornography, that you cannot be able to function well in a physical or sexual setup. And then you also have mental breakdown, because like what I said, the thoughts, the shame, all these things in your mind, so you can easily break down. And then depression is part of it also. And then also another thing is isolation, because you want to keep isolating. And then there's called passive masturbation. You feel like you need to keep masturbating all the time, because you're watching sexual scenes every time, and you're addicted to them even when you're at work. So you're always masturbating. And masturbating also has problems, because if you're married or you're in a relationship setup, you're not able to fulfill the other person, because you are used to masturbation. And then also another thing is, in aggravated cases, you start abusing children. There's now this pornography called kiddie porn, where when I was doing my research, I saw where there's that the children now are being, initiated to act pornography or to watch pornography. And you can also start abusing animals, because that's bestiality. There's some pornography that, in those perverted pornography, they abuse animals also. So you can also start going into extremes. And there's also cases of places, when I was doing my research, some people who are saying that when they started watching pornography, they started now, even if they were not into homosexuality, they started getting into homosexuality. So this is also something that can happen to you. I want to now talk about how pornography affects your mind. If you know how pornography affects your mind, you would not even watch pornography. You would not even want to be near any pornographic material. So with me here, I have some diagrams that will help me. So this is the human brain. I hope we can all see it. And this is the prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking part of the brain. It's called the prefrontal lobe. It's the thinking part of the brain. So when the mind is hooked on pornography, what happens is, once you watch pornography, and there's a neurochemical called dopamine. Dopamine is the feel-good chemical. So that chemical floods your mind now. It starts flooding your mind. So when it floods your mind, it affects all these other functions of the brain. Like now you're not able to think normally, clearly. That's why you'll see you're forgetting things, because your mind now is on arousal mode. Your mind now is not on thinking mode. It's on arousal or addiction mode. So what happens now, every time you're just thinking about pornographic material, that the brain now is not working. You're not thinking straight. So that the prefrontal lobe is affected. So you can't think straight. Another thing is, because now the brain now is hooked now to that, feel-good chemical called dopamine. So what happens? The brain struggles to regulate the dopamine in your system. So the brain wants more and more of dopamine. And because pornography is not like, even it's worse than the drug addiction, because it cannot be regulated. You'll keep wanting to watch. Drugs, there's an amount you can take and your body shuts down. But pornography, the brain can take in as much. So what happens? The brain now, when the brain is functioning normally, we call it the homeostasis level, the homeostasis condition, where the body is able to function normally. But when the brain is not able to function normally, what happens is now the brain struggles to regulate the dopamine being released in your body. It's trying to come back to homeostasis. So that's when you start getting tired and moody and angry, because your brain is tired, it's trying to regulate. What happens with pornography? It stimulates, and then it also it stimulates and soothes the brain. So when it's stimulating, soothing the brain, also it causes your mind to be tired and for you to feel fatigue. And also the brain is you see, there's the gray matter of the brain, which is up here, and the gray matter is where neurons or new cells of the brain are produced. Because the brain is not functioning normally, it affects the production of the gray it affects the gray matter and the production of neurons. So what happens is now you can start getting mental brain fog, memory loss, hair loss, and you're also not able to regulate your moods because your brain is on that state. And I want to show you a picture of how your brain looks like when you're addicted to pornography. So here is when the brain, you see, when the brain is addicted to pornography, this is the normal brain. And then this is the brain addicted to heroin, the drug. And this is the brain addicted to pornography. So what happens, the brain also now, because the functions of the brain have been distorted, so what happens, even the shape of the brain changes. So your brain begins to look like this. This is the normal brain, the heroin, and now this. I hope we can all see. So when your brain is looking like that, now you can imagine how you're not thinking normal, you're not thinking straight. And that's why people now want to commit suicide, and you want to do aggravated things. You want to even abuse children, because your brain is not functioning normally. And when your brain is distorted like that, then you're not even able to continue with life normally. And that's why you find many people who are addicted to pornography, they're not able to be sexually intimate with their partners anymore, because now you have developed your own life, you're in your own world. And such people, because of isolation, now you're in your own world. Even the things that used to give you pleasure, you see, we have explained about the dopamine in the brain. The things that used to give you pleasure, they no longer give you pleasure anymore, because now the mind is accustomed to the dopamine it's getting from pornography. So now what happens is, even the simple things like meeting people, the pleasure that you would get from meeting people, the pleasure you'd get from being with your partner or spouse, the pleasure you'd get from playing with your kids, is all taken up. It takes every area of your life. And when I was doing my research, I saw testimonies of people who had come out of that lifestyle. They were saying it had taken over their life. It became a burden, and it became like they're in bondage to pornography. So what are the signs when you want to withdraw from pornography? What happens to you? So signs of withdrawal: number one, you get anxiety, because now your brain is addicted to the dope it's getting from the pornography. So you get anxiety a lot. You can get angry and very irritable, because it's like a drug. You're used to something that was stimulating you. Now it's not there. And then you get sleep disruptions. You're not able to sleep well. You have low energies. And then when you're sleeping, unconsciously, those images come back to your brain. They keep coming back to your brain. But the good news is, just like any other addiction, you can always stop pornography. You can always free yourself from pornography. So how do you stop watching pornography? Number one, deal with your inner pain. Remember about the wounds we talked about? When you deal with your inner pain, you will notice the urge to watch pornography, the urge for addiction will just go away. Number two, brain training. You can train your brain manually not to watch pornography. The mind is very powerful. In fact, scientists have said that we only use 30% at most. The human beings that are using their brain, 30%, not 100. Imagine if you were using 100% of our brain. I mean, we would be geniuses. We would be like the first Adam who was able to name all the animals. So train your brain. It's a strong muscle. The brain is so strong because it controls every area of your body, of your life. The brain's success and failure starts in the mind. What you tell yourself, your self-talk, your self-dialogue, how you see yourself, will determine if you will make it or not break, or you will make it in life or not. So the brain and how you articulate yourself, and never feel like you're not good enough for anything. If you're fearfully and wonderfully made by God, when you see how the brain is, if you study the brain like I have studied the brain, you realize how amazing you are created. So there's nothing that you're not good for. You're good enough for that thing. Pursue it. Whatever it is you want to pursue it. Don't ever feel like you're nothing. How can you be nothing, and yet God created you in a very unique way? You can never be nothing. You are something. You're worth it. You are worth it. You're not less. No, God created you uniquely, so you are worth it. You are worth every good thing to come your way. You deserve it because you were created specially by God as a human being. So now, how do you, when you deal with the inner pain, then start affirming yourself positively. Then also start brain training, like I said, to stop watching pornography. You can beat it. Tell your brain no. Tell your brain no. You can actually rewire your brain. And scientists have discovered that in 3 weeks you can form a new habit. So you can rewire your brain and then go into sports. Sports helps you with them. If you want to feel like you want to masturbate or do other things that are not good, just do positive things like sports. Avoid being idle, because an idle mind is the devil's workshop. And then block all the porn sites in your phone. If you have any sites that are there, block them so that you're not tempted to go back. At the same time, now engage in healthy things like have good social relations. You might not even have many friends, but just few friends, but build social connections that are good for you. Good social networks that are good for you. Build friendships around you that are healthy, that will help you to grow and help you to thrive and become the best version of you, like the rose flower is talking about. Have people around you who bring out the best of you, and have also another thing that can also help you is prayer. Prayer helps a lot. Tell God to deliver you, tell God to set you free from those things, and you will be free. You see, in life, we were all created with giftings and talents, and it's up to you to maximize those giftings and talents. Is it worth for you to watch pornography after you've learned all these things that are affecting your mind and your social life because of pornography? Is it worth it? And for those people who say, I'm watching pornography to learn new things, you can always learn new things even by yourself, because you have a brain. You are creative by yourself. You can learn new things without pornography. So it's not something that you want to go into. It's not something that you want to be involved into. And there is nothing as good, because when God created sexual intimacy in relationships, it was supposed to be, intimate. It was supposed to be a blessing to you. So you don't need pornography for you to help you with intimacy, because when God created you, He knew that you are capable by yourself without having even materials to watch, and learn to guard your virtues. Learn to guard yourself. Don't just give yourself to anybody. Guard yourself. Learn to take care of yourself as a person. Take care of yourself. If you have to engage in things, even intimacy, let it be with someone that is serious about you, and someone that is for your good, not just giving yourself to compromise yourself for things. If you're a woman, you don't need to go giving your body to people because of things. And if you have to give your body, let it be with someone who you're committed to, and someone who knows that really loves you and value yourself, value your virtues. So I hope you've learned from this video. I hope that this video is going to help you one way or another. If you're addicted, please look for help. You can still beat this. And if you were planning on looking at pornography, please, it's not worth it. Don't go into it. And just know that you are able to change and have a new you, a new mind, and a new self-esteem. And if you're feeling low about yourself, pornography is not going to help you feel good about yourself. It's going to help make you feel guilty about yourself. So start just loving yourself and affirming yourself. There's a video I've done about self-affirmation and healing inner wounds. You can check some of my videos and you can heal. And for those of you who would want help or you want counseling, we're going to put an email address below and you can be able to reach out to us. And for those who are asking us about the donation button, we don't have a donation button, but we have a PayPal address, and you can be able to partner with us or give to the ministry using the links below. As I finish, let me just say one thing. You see, I normally, in every training I do, I normally teach people about self-discovery. Because when you discover yourself, when you know who you are, when you know how unique you are as a human being, you won't be caught up in some of these things. Because you will be self-assured, you will walk with confidence. So discover who you are as a person, your talents, your giftings, who God has created you to be. And you will discover that you will have confidence even to do anything you want to do as a human being. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.